That would have been the perfect segue if we were recording. Say it again. We'll pretend that the listeners didn't know we said it already.
Did we say something?
Who said what now?
Oh, sorry, I was miles away.
It was I said it in my head.
Jay?
Yeah.
You've got red on you. Literally.
I do. Actually, yes.
It suits you.
You know what else suits you? This episode of the Philly KickAss podcast.
Sometimes you got to tee it up and let the man knock it out of the park.
Man, if you couldn't feel the cheesy thumbs up coming through your speaker, I don't know what to tell you.
It wasn't just a thumbs up. Dude, that was the full-on Buddy Christ, man. The finger gun and the thumbs up.
That's right.
Probably hear me fist pumping through the microphone. Welcome in, listeners, to the Philly KickAss podcast. You got Jay, you got Dan, you got Zach. And as Dan had already alluded to, we are going through the month that was October.
Yeah.
The second to last month, at least as far as our review schedule is of the year, since we don't do a December review because we ain't fucking with the Christmas shit. It's just not us.
No, we tried that once. It didn't go well for us. We figured, let's not do it again. You know that thing we did one time? Let's not do that again.
Let's not do that again. Yeah, not enough new music that comes out in the month. We do a lot of stuff in December, a lot of fun year-end holiday stuff. We are kind of finalizing that schedule, and we will have something good. We'll have several weeks of good stuff.
We'll have something.
Zach,
Something.
Zach, come here for a sec.
Yeah.
Stop making promises you know we can't deliver on.
Oh, my bad. That's what Ted taught me to do.
You promised quality, bro.
Shit. Well, we're stuck now. What are we gonna do?
Well, make it up, I guess. Okay.
Well, I think we kind of accidentally started an ASMR thing, so we can roll with that.
Tell you what, you guys should talk about the best albums of the month, and I'll just be back here folding towels.
Now you say that, I feel like there's a very high likelihood that that's exactly what's going to be happening.
Nor do I have a problem with it.
Yeah. That's just efficiency.
Part of me really wants to get up and go to the closet so I can make this bit a reality that no one can see, obviously. No one can see this, but let me tell you.
Listen, we're all about authenticity.
It's true.
I'm folding. If I feel real daring, I'll even grab a fitted sheet and give that a shot.
Oh,
Ooh.
Good luck. Those things are bastards. Well, Jay, how did you feel? Because I feel like just in terms of volume, I listened to more stuff, more albums than I would typically listen to in a given month. I don't think that was because things were like particularly jumping off the page for me. I just think I just kind of got into a groove and, queued up a bunch of stuff and let it roll. But yeah, I'm curious to see how your listening was throughout the month.
Yeah. My follow-up question to the, you feel like you listen to a lot more things. The follow-up question is, how much of it do you remember? Because I feel like that was my take on this month. I have 10 or 11 albums that I listed or maybe 12 albums that I listed in my top 3 and then my honorable mentions. And outside of that, I'm not entirely sure what I listen to. And it's typical that I listen to at least one a day. Usually it's 2 a day. So I go through a lot of material, but I don't remember most of it this month.
Yeah, I weirdly am kind of the opposite, but not because it was all great necessarily, but just because I don't know why. Like I kind of have started to get into the habit of, typically if the stuff that I would listen to, it's same as you. I'd go through these are the albums that are honorable mentions. These are the 3, 2, 1. And then everything else that I would listen to that wouldn't make the honorable mentions would kind of be in one ear and out the other. But I wanted to, kind of start to experiment with at least noting down the ones that I did listen to and didn't make the honorable mentions, partially because I wanted to go back maybe in a different mindset, somewhere down the line and say was I the problem this month? And there are at least a few of these that didn't make my honorable mentions that I will be going back on because I feel like they probably were good albums, or at least better than the headspace I was listening to them in. And in fact, some of them may even be on your list. So I'm very curious how those kind of intersect.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's the case with my list. Like I left some stuff off the honorable mentions. I won't say it's a bad month. I did leave a few things off the honorable mentions because I thought you were going to talk about them.
Oh.
And one in particular that I left off for that reason. But again, there's probably more than that, but I only remember the one. So that's the one that popped into my head. And fourth wall break here, like I have a spreadsheet and I write down every album that I listen to, usually with some notes about it as I listen to it, because I love spreadsheets and I'm a huge nerd. And a lot of what I listened to this month just doesn't have any notes about it. And a lot of that's because, like, if it didn't grab me within 5 songs, I probably just listened to the next thing on the list.
Same.
Without noting anything about it. And that happens too, but usually that's the minority.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, you probably give it 1 or 2 songs more than me. Like track 1 is usually really tough because sometimes it's an intro, sometimes it's a little skit. So 2, 3, and 4 are kind of the sweet spot. Or I like to jump around to, like, I'll listen to track 2 and then I'll listen to track 7 and track 11 or whatever.
And I don't do that because usually I'm driving or mowing the lawn or something. Right. I don't jump around like that.
Yeah.
But
if it is an album that I'm really vibing with, like it always goes in order. But if it's like, I need to know, is this something that I can really get into? That's when the jumping around happens.
Yeah. Well, I feel like arrangement is part of deciding on whether or not an album is good. So if I have to jump around, that's not a good sign either.
Agreed. Yeah. That's like, this is either not going to be great unless something grabs me in, the random tracks I listen to.
Yeah. There's always exceptions to that too. So keeping that in mind. I have a feeling I know what Dan's going to talk about today, though. At least in part.
You're correct. And I feel like I'm closer to you this month than Zach because I didn't have a volume of things, and we'll get into that. And I think the best way to put it would be if you can imagine like a bell curve, the entire month is like the absolute peak where it's right in the middle. It would be the meaniest of means if you were just using it as a data set kind of deal, or median of means, pardon me. Because I did take, high school math once upon a decade.
25 years ago.
That's, yeah, I know. But that's my point. Like, I was trying to be entertaining in the beginning of the show because by the time you guys get to me, I'm going to have so little to say that we can just blow through the lineup.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
I'm also curious as to where you fall on that topic. Like you said, like median of means, like fat bell curve. Like I get that, but like, what is the opinion that puts it there? Yeah.
That'll probably be the biggest and most entertaining piece of my piece.
Yeah.
And
pieces of piece.
Like, very heavy quotes around most entertaining.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Well, I'm intrigued for one, but I am going to go ahead and dip a toe in for my number 3 and kind of get us started here.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I'm just going to go ahead and, for once, I'm not going to do the whole workup. I'm just going to tell you it's Khalid. It's the album After the Sun Goes Down. Because I wanted to kind of put that up front just so I could kind of fanboy, I guess, off of his smooth voice. A voice that I have written in my notes that sounds like bubbles that settle on top of the bath after you put a capful in, equal parts lavender and eucalyptus. I think I just had like a chai latte right before writing that, so I was definitely in a sort of vibe, but it happened to be the perfect vibe for this album. It's a voice that always hits, but in this particular case, a voice that also has a lot of vulnerability and strength behind it in the face of something that absolutely no one should have to endure. That being in late 2024, a few months after the release of his 3rd studio album, Sincere, Khalid was outed by an ex, which was something that he himself would later confirm on social media. I don't need to tell any of you how fucked up of a thing that is to do to anyone, period. But to have something so deep, so personal, so sensitive taken from him, and to then turn around and create something so beautiful off of the heels of it is nothing short of amazing. The result of that was an album that is sensual, that is sultry, and that is uninhibited. Khalid himself said, quote, "This album wouldn't have come to be if I wasn't outed." What happened, of course, is still awful. Like I said, there's no place, no reason for that under any circumstances. So that's something to not at all get twisted. But this is still such a wonderful silver lining. From the flirtatious tank top to the modernized kind of summer lovin' reimagining in Momentary Lovers to the superbly produced Instant, which could easily pass as a weekend song. Khalid nails the vibe up and down the 17-track offering. If you're like me, you'll melt into each track, realizing every so often that, holy shit, he sounds so pristine with every single note. It's one of those albums that works great as both background and foreground listening, which I did both of with this album to great extent. I'll leave it to Khalid again to finish this review off, where he said in the same interview with People magazine, quote, "I decided I'm just going to choose to love who I am unconditionally because it's all I got on this earth." Fucking A, my guy. Fucking A.
Fucking A. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. And yeah, I'm going to make this real easy because my number 3 record for October is Khalid, After the Sun Goes Down. I will preface this a little bit by saying that my top 3 are so wildly different in approach that I have listed all of them as the best record of October 2025. But I'll read a little bit of what I wrote here because you nailed it. So I'll just pop a couple of extra things on there. But I said it stands out primarily because of how seamlessly he sort of blends his signature style with a fresh, like, upbeat energy. His delivery is still really smooth, and that's the core of the album, whether he's exploring his vulnerability or embracing his newfound freedom. His vocals are perfectly controlled and conversational, making it like even the most club ready tracks on this record feel intimate, which is cool. On this record, like the beat production is so cool, guided by, I don't know, is it Ilya or Ilya? I don't know how it's supposed to be said.
I'm not sure of the pronunciation either. I should have looked at that, but I didn't.
With some help from legends like Darkchild. It's a fresh R&B dance pop sound, influences from early 2000s and early 2010s. Tracks like In Plain Sight and Out of Body are like infectiously groovy. They managed to be retro and brand new. And it's a great backdrop for like any late night dance craze that you want to put together, like a drive or a dance floor movement. Anyway, for me, what truly elevated the record was that deeply personal lyrical content, the self-discovery, identity, taking back power, grappling candidly with nuances of love and lust and loss, but with new expectations. I really feel like this album, it's my favorite of Khalid's records. And a lot of that is because it's a celebration of self and an identity. And it's just, it's raw. It's really cool to hear him take the power back. That's the way he phrased it. That's the way it should be. He's taking back his own power. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's why I nominate this record as the best record of the month.
Yeah, it's the confidence, the celebration, like, you know, I think that word especially just rings true because we're not talking like Kool and the Gang, but we are talking a celebration of who he is and, you know, who he is, you know, choosing to show the world. And that's just such a wonderful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. Is your number 2 record of the month also wonderfully and beautiful?
I don't know. and I say that because it's a record that I have struggled to truly categorize as wonderful, beautiful, or otherwise. It's a thing that I have issues with sometimes. I mean, we have genres and subgenres and subgenres of music, and sometimes things fit pretty neatly into a box. Sometimes you maybe need 2 or 3 boxes. But sometimes, like for me at least, just the words of like, this is blah, just don't come. They just don't show up in the old headspace. And that is exactly where I'm at with Just Mustard's 3rd full-length release, We Were Just Here. Thankfully, I'm not alone, as to be seen from an album review from British publication NME that says that the band has, quote, traded in a genre haze that lands somewhere around noise rock, but always dabbles in darkness. sure. Okay. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. It sounds fairly like what I heard. It's certainly articulated better than I could. The album we were just here certainly checks the noise box. That much I could say for sure on a vast majority of the tracks. It was less of a wall of sound and more of a moat of sound surrounding the almost inaudible at some points vocals of both lead Katie Bell and David Noonan behind her. But somehow it works. And usually I can't stand that in a mix. Like if the vocals are not loud enough to be heard clear and concisely, it's just something that I personally don't vibe to usually. This is one of those exceptions where I absolutely vibe to it, despite the fact that that was inherent on several tracks. Not every track goes that hard, that noisy, that muddled, which I say not as a bad thing at all. For instance, Dandelion is pretty minimal in contrast to most of the songs on the rest of the album, but still has plenty of noise of its own accord to go around. Going back to that same article, it was also listed as trip hop, as a fusing of krautrock and dream pop, and as driving melody through the malaise on a psych-driven neon bullet train. Okay, the last one, Enemy, maybe you need a nap after that. Maybe that's a little bit too far. But I say that without being able to do much better. So, you know what? What the hell? Malaise on a psych-driven neon bullet train it is, Just Mustard. Well done.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on that record. For in a very rare occurrence, you picked the noise record and I didn't like it.
That is super rare. Oh my goodness. You
do
have more nuance, I think, in that genre than I do, though. So I could absolutely see that.
Maybe, but like everything you just said about describing that record is something I genuinely usually like. Like I don't mind buried vocals, and I don't mind when the noise overtakes the whole production. Like that doesn't bother me at all. Usually, on this record, I'll sum it up. My significant other, when I was listening to that record, her quote was, "That just sounds like a fax machine." And I said, you're not wrong.
She's not wrong at all.
No.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, that's way better than anything I wrote, to be perfectly fair. And I agree with it.
I'm not going to say I didn't like it. It just didn't hit for me. Yeah. Like a lot of that, like that genre is something that I mean, on the record, I love those things, right? Like I usually pick that as my choice genre. And it didn't hit for me, which is all right.
Yeah. It's not all bluster. I mean, we can go back, probably pick a random month and find one at least that hits your honorable mentions, if not your top three. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was super curious how you were going to feel about that for that exact reason, since that is usually more your wheelhouse than mine.
Could have been a mood thing. It may have been, the moment that I did the listen. Maybe it was that. That's possible.
Oh, certainly, yeah. Well, if that did not hit in your top three, then what did hit specifically in your number two spot?
Interesting record for my number two. It's the 12th album, long awaited, first collection of original material from this band in about 2 decades. I am talking about the enigma that is Evan Dando and Lemonheads. I love them so much. This album successfully channels the band's signature early 90s alt rock aesthetic, balancing power pop hooks with a loose, grungy sensibility, all centered around Evan Dando's uniquely laid back style. I should have mentioned the album's called Love Chant. And the reason that I should mention that is because very little of the album has to do with that title. Dando's nonchalant vocals are sort of the album's magnetic centerpiece. So his delivery is often described as a low-voiced ramble or laid-back croon, which contrasts perfectly with some guitar-driven dynamics. His singing maintains a dreamy, almost resigned tone, and it makes even the most pointed lyrics often feel like an offhand thought, though he's like talking through a thought mid-cigarette. This understated style is key to the album's appeal. because it's a sense of authenticity and slacker rock melancholy that kind of harken back to Lemonhead's peak era, like It's a Shame About Ray and Come On Feel the Lemonheads. On tracks like the opening track, 58-second song, his voice is wrapped in harmonies featuring like Juliana Hatfield or Aaron Ray, giving that music an essential like sun-dappled Lemonheads shimmer. And the lyrics are filled throughout the entire album are filled with this sort of wry intimacy, wordplay, and deadpan sarcasm that Evan Dando is known for. It's humor and heartbreak and wisdom. The album opens with an intentional joke in the song title, 58-second song, which actually runs for over 3 minutes, setting an immediate tongue-in-cheek tone. Dando offers subtle, clever lines that often turn small confessions into riddles, such as things like, and of all the things that are never said, nobody knows what they never meant.
Oh, I like that.
I love that. That's so good. Tracks like Wild Thing use a perfectly on-point sarcastic voice to tackle toxic relationships from the point of view of the toxic person. If you really love me, you'll do this and you won't begrudge me if I do that. On Cell Phone Blues, Dando touches on modern listlessness with a deadpan smile, expressing his dissatisfaction with technology. Lines like, I make movies which don't move me. The album's sound is sort of a melodic reaffirmation of their roots. It feels like a seamless continuation of their stuff from the 90s, but it's got kind of a lived-in groove. Man, I just everything about this record, like the rhythm section moves unhurriedly. It's nostalgic, laid back. It's like a crinkled up pop middle ground.
That's so just it's an album I didn't listen to, unfortunately. And all the albums I listened to, somehow I missed this one. But just, seeing that on our list and thinking like, as far as the cadence that the band has released music in, you mentioning that it's been 20 years since their last original music release. They had a couple of cover albums in there.
Yeah.
It's basically been 10 years even before that since their previous original music, as I'm kind of looking through their discography. So to go like 10 years and then 20 years in between original albums is like unheard of. Either of those hiatuses is pretty rare, but both of them kind of one after the other, like to have the cohesion of a band, to remember what you were, way back in the late 80s and into the early to mid 90s, and still be able to produce that sound, some 30 years on, is nothing short of remarkable. That's very, very cool.
Yeah. And I don't know, I haven't listened to the album enough times yet to really pit it up against things like It's a Shame About Ray, which for my mind, like depending on the moment, I might rank It's a Shame About Ray in the top 25 albums ever recorded.
Oh, wow.
Because I mean, if you're not familiar with the record, it's beautiful and it's lazy and it's awesome. Lyrically, musically, it's just wonderful. So I haven't listened to Love Chant enough to try to pit it up against that, but lyrically I think it holds up great, and vocally I don't know, Evan Dando is Evan Dando and there's no way around that. It's just him.
Yeah, that adds 2 albums then to my to be listened to list. Both It's a Shame About Ray and then of course Love Chant. That is very cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome, dude.
Before we hit that number 1 for the month, what did you almost put in that spot?
So I had quite a few, and I'm not going to go through all of them because I had a bunch, but I will mention the only album from this month that I own on vinyl, which is AFI Silver Bleeds the Black Sun. It basically is Depeche Mode in a very weird and very awesome way. And anyone who is familiar with, some of AFI's earlier, more punk leaning music, this is not that band. You're probably going to be disappointed, but it was a really, really cool album. Chrissie Hynde had an album of duets called Duet Special, which was really, really touching, really, really cool to hear. Let's see. Speaking of cover albums, Serge Tankian had an album called Covers, Collaborations, and Collages, which was really a hodgepodge of kind of everything. Like some of it worked, like he did a rendition of Krista Berg's I'm Counting on You, which was aces. Some of it did not work, aka the track A Seed was god awful, but it was everywhere across the map. And even the stuff that I didn't like, I thought like, wow, this is not System of a Down. And I at least appreciated the kind of experimentation of it. So if nothing else, it was an interesting listen. As y'all know me, it's death, taxes, and Aesop Rock and West Side Gun releases ending up somewhere on my list. To this month, it was 2 honorable mentions. Aesop with I Heard It's a Mess There Too, kind of the current state of Aesop Rock. Lyrics that are dense, but just so like a nice chocolate chip cookie instead of a neutron star. Still super accessible, still super great. And for the latter, West Side, can we not put out any new music for the rest of the year, please? This is album number 3 of 2025, as Dan had mentioned in our chats, and album 4 of the last calendar year. That is Heels Have Eyes 3. And it was great, because of course it's great. It's West Side Gun. He doesn't miss, but like it's too much to keep up with. Like it's at least doesn't sound samey. It sounds signature. But yeah, let's just take 2026 off, Wes. Let's just take a break. Let's chill, and let's get back at it in 27.
He'll just wind up collaborating on a Benny or a Conway record.
God, he fucking will, won't he?
Yes, he will.
I'll see like Stove God Cooks come up on the list. I'm like, well, there's 2 of them right there. Shit. But yeah, that was where I was at, man. What about you and your honorable mentions?
Oh, so many. I'll try to slim it down. Actually, I can slim it down pretty easy because I also have Ace Rock on mine with I Heard It's a Mess There Too. It's a good surprise release. Dense, complex conversational lyrics about global anxiety, and I'm here for it. The Acacia Strain dropped a record called You Are Safe From God Here, and it is crushingly heavy, and it's a diverse record that mixes their like deathcore sound with sludge and doom, but it's one of their biggest sounding records, and I loved it. Speaking of doom metal, Author and Punisher released a record called Nocturnal Binding, which was just fierce. Industrial doom, mechanized percussion, guitar melodies that are based on bird songs. Also a cathartic commentary on humanitarian crisis. This one specifically at the US-Mexico border, but yeah, heavy stuff there. Sticking with the metal, Coroner released Dissonance Theory, which is first album after a 30-year hiatus. And it's a welcome return. They're one of the originators of like progressive and technical thrash metal, and they can still deliver. Again, not enough to make my top 3 for the month, but a great listen. Soulfly also releasing heavy stuff, groove heavy. That's what Soulfly does, and they're great at it. Tribal infused percussion. Max Cavalera can do no wrong, really. And another heavy, dense record about humanitarian problems in particularly his Brazilian homeland. Moving on from the metal, let's talk about Amber Mark, which was just a cool, soulful, cinematic pop R&B record that like shimmers. Sort of like 70s disco funk production with witty lyrics. And I liked it a lot. Also in the pop realm, let's go with The Last Dinner Party. Calling it pop doesn't do it justice. It's Baroque pop, but kind of. It's art rock. It's theater grandeur. It's character driven rage. I don't even really know. My favorite thing I saw was somebody wrote that it blurs the album's called From the Pyre. It's their sophomore record, and the write-up said that it blurs the line between modern situationships and Catholic guilt, and I loved that.
That's an amazing sentence. Oh my God.
And then I'll close. Well, yeah, 2 more. Florence and the Machine with an end of the month drop, which is sort of a guttural indie rock record that's really cool. It's like Florence has like an unflinching exploration of the physical and emotional cost of performance. And this record blends sort of like themes of witchcraft, folk horror, and mysticism, but that's not new for her. And this record is super powerful. It might have wound up on a top 3 for me if I'd had more time with it. But I did really dig it, particularly the song One of the Greats, which was just a cool song lyrically. Lastly, I'll talk about Maddie Diaz, it was a beautiful record. Album's called Fatal Optimist. Singer-songwriter, acoustic-centered, stripped back. She transforms the rage and grief of a breakup into a sense of optimism. And it's pretty.
Yeah, the ones that you mentioned that I listened to, no arguments there. I think that they that was like the author and Punisher, the Maddie Diaz that you mentioned, the Last Dinner Party, and like they didn't specifically grab me in any sort of way. So it was not necessarily like a dissenting opinion that I had of them, but it was more like, I listened to this and that happened and that was that. But yeah, I didn't dislike any of them.
Cool. Well, what did you dislike the least in October 2025?
Ooh, that is a way to put it. For sure. The artist responsible for my number one album of October has gotten me in the feels twice now. Once, admittedly, for a much sillier reason, that of her music being very closely connected to the ultimate cheesy feels show that I loved back in the early aughts, being one Grey's Anatomy. And then several times from her 8th studio album, Returning to Myself, that being Brandi Carlile. Side note, I was apparently still, this one's for the Grays fans, I was apparently still upset at Izzy for cutting the LVAD wire back in 2022 when I mentioned it during a recording of a Billboard re-rank that we did. And that hasn't changed. I'm still upset about this 20 plus years later, but that's neither here nor there. Because we're talking about Brandi Carlile, and we're talking about a soft, beautiful, lyric-driven, just masterpiece of an album. She deftly talks about topics such as mortality and Joni Mitchell and the separation of church and state, or the lack thereof, with a sort of measured brilliance that really permeates every note and every word. Brandi always has had such a kind of heartfelt way to tell a story, whether that was on the track The Story that all of you have probably heard, or on any of these tracks, or weirdly enough, on the story of these tracks, which she did in a Variety article that was posted on Halloween. Highly recommend taking a look at that if you even remotely enjoy this album, because she goes into a ton of detail on every single track on this album of kind of her thought process of how the songs came to be, and quite a bit about the co-writing experience that she had with Aaron Dessner of outfits such as The National and Big Red Machine and a bunch of Taylor Swift things from the last half decade. Reading about that kind of collaboration, the writing process, the creativity, it was just a really cool kind of peek inside, kind of being a fly on the wall as this process went on. And then, of course, discussion about the meaning and the reason that these songs exist. And just, to me, the article and just kind of seeing that in her words was every bit as awesome as listening to the album itself. And it gave me a whole new appreciation for an album that I had already vibed with to that point to a very, very large degree. As understated as the album was, and as as verbose, admittedly, as the article was in her own words, the two combined made up for one of my favorite listening experiences so far of 2025, and my favorite album of the month of October.
Wow, nice. That's very cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I did not listen to that. Brandi Carlile is not somebody who pops up on my regular radar. Genre wise, it's not my thing. Doesn't mean I don't like it, and seems like I may have missed out on something this time around.
Yeah, I don't know how you would. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure about this. I think it's probably not like too far removed from some of Brandy's previous work. I think it's maybe less poppy and more folky, if that is a detraction, or if it's a nod in the positive direction. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear what you think.
Okay.
And I would also be very curious to hear what you think about your number one album of the month of October.
I'll tell you what I think about my number one album. Existential confrontation is the phrase that came to mind most frequently when I was listening to the 12th studio album from Thrice, Horizons West. It's the companion record. It's a direct and distinct companion piece to their 2021 record, Horizons East. And in my opinion, far better. The first album explored themes of beginnings and the East, sunrises, new possibilities, etc. Horizons West deliberately delves into themes of endings, perception, and what remains after belief is tested, sunsets. The lyrical content is deeply introspective, philosophical, and confrontational, big, focusing on anxieties of modern life and the fragility of truth. Dustin, the vocalist, stated that the record is, quote, about parsing reality, end quote, and pulling back the curtain on the influences of algorithms and fear and social echo chambers. It addresses contemporary concerns about truth, identity, and social manipulation. And it's a variety of topics, right? So it's things like, they're all heavy too, but like feeling of being constantly influenced by unseen forces, confronting fear and loss, the idea of mortality, especially in the latter half of the record, continuing their spiritual exploration, but critically addressing things like religious hypocrisy in the song Vesper Light. The lyrics often use nautical and celestial imagery to connect back to the companion theme. So like destructive yet beautiful nature of an albatross or the deep sea pull of undertow. It's a lot of allusion to the struggle of finding clarity amid confusion. Sound-wise, it's a continuation of their sort of post-hardcore roots, their like progressive experimentation stuff. The musical direction on Horizons West is like crushing intensity, but with like a lot of atmospheric post-rock and some electronic elements, which they didn't ever really play with it when they first started making music. So if you're thinking, if similar to what you're talking about with the AFI record, if you're thinking this is the early post-hardcore stuff that Thrice was doing in the early aughts, it ain't that. Tracks like the lead single Nash deliver a primal and punishing sound. It's like a raw urgency that is akin to their earlier work, but there's a lot of dynamics to it, which was missing early on in their career. And there's a lot of like cinematic post-rock textures and ambient electronic elements. Songs like Undertow and Distant Suns have a lot of atmospheric soundscapes, drawing comparisons to like latter-day Radiohead. Man, and his vocal range is so much better on this album than it is on anything that came previously. He's got his trademark powerful shout, but there's a more delicate, like, I'll bring up Tom York again, almost that Tom York-esque falsetto. It sees Thrice sharpening their edge while maintaining a nuanced and unpredictable balance. And for me, it solidifies them as sort of a rock innovator. Like they're not totally unique. Like I can hear a lot of things like Hot Water Music in what they're doing, or Dredge, or some of those like later aughts powerhouses. But Horizons West sort of it's meditative. It's a journey. The last song ends with like hymnal vocals and wind chimes, which sort of ends with this barren sense of finality of this two-part concept. So I'm really interested to see where they're going next.
Real talk, as I listened to this album, or at least the first half of it before I gave up on it, I thought to myself, I'm missing something here. And I know I'm missing something here, and I can't figure out what I'm missing. And I'm not going to figure it out just by trying to brute force and listen to it, because it's just not coming to me. But like, I feel like I vividly remember this. I was sitting in bed listening to it, and I vividly remember thinking like, there's more meat on this bone that I just either am not equipped to understand, or that I just am not in the right headspace, or a combination of the two to understand at this moment. And you are very much confirming the suspicions that I had.
Okay.
As far as the thematic of it, I feel like this was an album that, having known ahead of time that there was a Horizons East and having listened to it, I feel like that Horizons West would have landed better, even if I was in the same boat as you and not having liked Horizons East as much. At least that would have been kind of the precursor to fully establish where I needed to be to get the most out of the album.
Maybe it probably did help me. Like I do feel like the two albums work together. I don't think East is as good of a record. Let me be clear about that too. It's not this good, but I feel like, because that was in 2021, and we were all in torment in 2021, and Horizons East was like, oh, but let's think about new beginnings. Let's think about what happens when the sun rises. And I think what hits so hard about Horizons West is maybe even Dustin, when he's writing these lyrics, and he was, thinking, even back then, he was thinking, oh, there has to be a new dawn at the end of this. And then we all come out of it and ain't no new dawn.
Mm-hmm.
So like just the desolation that's presented in this record, and the anger and the frustration and just the exhaustion that is present on this album, I think, man, clearly it hit me pretty hard. Yeah. I'm still talking about it.
Yeah, it's not always a happy ending,
right?
As much as we would like it to be. It sounds like it was the happy beginning in this case, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Also can absolutely go with you as someone who, was a huge fan of The Artist in the Ambulance from all the way back in 2003. This ain't that. No. This is not that band. This is not that sound. That's not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing. They certainly have range and have evolved over time, but maybe that was also part of it, that I have not listened to a lot of Thrice since then. And maybe that's mentally what I expected, and not hearing that even subconsciously, it was like, ooh, this is not it, with my air quotes up. But again, that was a miss on me. That was not a miss by the band. So yeah, we'll be giving this one another spin post haste.
Yeah, you do that. I'll listen to Brandy.
Nice. What a juxtaposition of sounds. I love it.
Yeah. Before Dan starts talking, which we should let him do now because he's been waiting patiently with his towels, since we kind of know what he's about to talk about, should we address that elephant in the room before he starts, or let him talk first?
My vote is the latter. Like I feel like we could probably pepper it in as he goes, but yeah, I don't want to steal any of that.
Okay, that's fair
for sure. I know that there's a lot of thunder to steal.
There is not.
Fair
which
enough.
is why I'm going to do this right now and then ask, what did you guys think of The Life of a Showgirl?
Like I can kind of throw my 2 cents in, because it's not going to take that long for me to talk about either. Like we kind of started talking about it a little bit before the show started. It is incredibly mid. For one, it's the first album where every single track as of this point has over 100 million streams on Spotify already, which is absolutely ridiculous for an album that I have yet to hear one person, and that includes a lot of Taylor Swift fans, yet to hear one person say that they loved. It doesn't mean that there aren't good tracks on this album, which we can certainly dive into when we talk about them in a few minutes, but overall, it's just there. It seems like a phoning in, and I don't know. I don't know if that's fair to say. It's probably not fair to say. I'm sure there was a lot of work and a lot of effort from Taylor and from production on this album, but yeah, I wasn't the target audience very clearly, as someone who did love the Tortured Poets department. So I'm certainly not a Taylor Swift hater by any means. But The Life of a Showgirl was just not it for me.
I'm also not a Taylor Swift hater, and I did not like Tortured Poets. So for me, this album, I was just going to say, like, this album is, for me, hands down better than Tortured Poets and maybe 2 other of her albums. But beyond that, it takes... Yeah. But I think it has more in common with Reputation than what a lot of Taylor fans don't want to... Like, I think it has that in common, which is unfortunate for it. I think she's trying to enter her Marina phase, but she's not good at it.
That's such a fucking good way to put it. Oh my gosh.
Like, I really like the opening. Like, I like Death of Ophelia. I think it's a good song. I think there are a handful of good songs on this record, which is more than I can say for Tortured Poets. But I feel like it's a style that she has not nailed, and that sucks for everybody.
Agreed. Yeah, it seems very contrived at times.
Yeah.
God, I feel like I sound like Pitchfork right now. But it does just feel like the lowest common denominator of pop music.
I feel like I really do feel like if you gave Marina each of these tracks, like give her an hour with each track, you've got a fantastic record. I think that's probably true.
Marina, I know you're out there. I know you're listening. Challenge hopefully accepted. You can pull it off. If anyone can, you can.
And this is why I wanted to give it to you guys first, so you guys could throw all that stuff out, and I didn't have to say much of anything. Like, the only thing that I would add to either would be, I think the writing is probably, well, okay, the writing is definitely better than Reputation, but that's not saying much. But I would put out there that some of the writing on some of the tracks is better than Tortured Poet Department. And I mean, I'm with you. I think I like that better. I didn't need to hear about Travis Kelce's dick for 3.5 minutes in that one. But, that is what that is. It's there. It's a record that's there. It happened, and it's gonna be that album for somebody, but not as many people as is usually the case for a Taylor record. I think your comparison to her trying to find her Marina phase is perfect, and also that she hasn't done it. So, and the problem with that is that when you have something that is so in the middle of the road meh, but dominates the chart for an entire month, that makes this part of the job really fucking hard.
Yeah.
So I had 21 tracks, and she was 12 of them. Doesn't really give me a lot of room to work with, especially when I was very in the center on the whole record.
Yeah, I don't know if it held true or if this was the peak, but at some point, all 12 tracks were in the top 14 of the Billboard Hot 100, which is obscene.
And insane to think about those numbers, in as much as we're talking about it as quite possibly bottom 3 record for her, bottom 3 of 12. Maybe?
Absolutely, yeah, I would buy that.
When you combine that, and then also this month the implementation of a new rule, which I think may be good down the line when it starts to shift out, that the Billboard Hot 100 is now going to drop singles off the top 100 after they get to a certain age. They've been there for so long, which is why Kendrick Lamar's Luther dropped off. There's so many, you're basically going to have so many weeks to stay on, and then you'll fall off. So you won't have songs. It's not like the album charts where, like, I think Dark Side of the Moon has been on the album chart since, I don't know, 1978 and probably still going. Same thing with Rumors. Yeah. They're trying to fix that. So hopefully we'll see a turnover going forward of more songs coming through. The unintended consequence in this, and this is the factoid you can start stashing in the back of your head when you're at bar trivia. Last week, the last week of October was the first top 40 since like April of 1990 not to contain a hip hop song.
Oh, wow. I did not realize that. Holy shit.
Yes. I mean, 12 of your top 40 are Taylor, and everything else is either close or a crossover, or just not, there's country up there. So we'll see how quickly hopefully I'll have bigger lists to work off of going forward now if we're going to start recycling these things off. And that also means eventually Morgan Wallen will get the fuck out of the way. But we still have to put up with 53 weeks, I think is the number, before a single finally falls off. So,
I mean, I think that's really cool. And I do think it's going to help. It creates a new statistic anyway, where like songs that have run the whole thing, right?
Well, I think it's their attempt to kind of rebalance the streaming aspect of the chart, because, a song like Luther is great when it's being held up because so many people are going back to that album.
Yeah.
But that also, is that really a complete picture of what's popular this week? Maybe not if restreams are what's keeping things up. I don't know.
Yeah. I also do think genuinely that because of all the streaming and stuff going on, that a lot of this, the high end success of Taylor's first week on the charts or whatever is anticipation of that. So I think other artists just didn't drop things as singles during that time because there's no point.
Also,
they can't chart.
Also highly possible, which is a good point. Like if there's there's a Taylor date coming up, maybe you just move a week or two. And let the initial surge go, and maybe we'll have a chance at getting in front of more eyeballs. Could possibly be.
Because there's a real good chance that 3 or 4 of those songs stick around for a while, but not all 12.
For sure.
Correct. And I imagine looking forward, we'll see them on the chart for a while, but not all of them. But the unintended consequences, I'm glad we had a conversation about Billboard chart formulation, because I don't really have a whole ton to talk about, because literally everything it is one of those rarest of months where I could say there wasn't bad music on the chart to go with. There wasn't great music on the chart to go with either. Like everything kind of sat in that it's all right mode, which makes it really hard to do reviews where you want to get descriptive and, make puns and, a whole bunch of jokes, but there's not enough there to really sink your teeth into, but there's not enough to really dig into and get angry about either. So thank you for taking up as much time in this show as you possibly could.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see the mushy middle of pop music and being the most accessible, but also being the least interesting of the genre. And yeah, like just knowing some of the tracks that hit, like how do you talk about a sound that is, a sound that we've heard before in several of those cases?
And it is great that you mentioned mushy because you unintentionally segue wonderfully into our honorable mention. And I know no one's going to agree with this. I'm okay with that. But it's still very weird to say this. But Camera is one of Ed Sheeran's sappiest, sugariest, squishiest songs in a really long time, wrapped around a metaphor that's as weak as a well cocktail. And yet it's a track that's still so well done that it falls into that I should hate this, but I can't songs. And therefore should fall just outside the top 3.
It certainly is not like hearkening to the Ed Sheeran of old, which I did enjoy. Like I legitimately loved his first album.
No, yeah. It harkens to Coldplay, which should make me hate it, but it don't, and that's the problem. And I am confused. And I may even go to the next step and say I'm confuzzled.
I mean, it definitely doesn't make me feel like I'm falling in love by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
actually, it's a good song.
It is, but it also, it kind of feels, what's the best way to describe what would be a good mild hallucinogen? Like, I didn't drop acid in a Green Glen, but maybe something a bit more mild, a tab of something a bit more mild, just kind of by a country pond. I think that's a way to describe that one.
You ate half a gummy.
Yeah, there you go. We did some gummies and just sat out by the pond, and it's a really nice sunny day out.
Yeah, I was going to go with ayahuasca, but I think that half a gummy is probably more the vibe. Yeah, same, Jay. I said it in my head, like, no, that's the other direction.
No,
that's
I think you're right.
Way.
The remix, if he lets David get on the remix, that'll be ayahuasca.
Oh, for fuck's sake, please. No. I mean, I'll listen to it out of morbid curiosity. But
of course.
So wait, David Guetta's the ayahuasca is Calvin Harris the Molly? I don't understand. What are we doing here?
Producers as illicit drugs next week on the Fairly KickAss podcast.
Look, as long as we can find the appropriate one for Quaalude, I think we're all right.
For sure.
Anywho, getting into the top 3, that was far more interesting than I ever thought a comment about that song was going to be. Getting into the top 3 proper, though, you could probably, and look, you could probably shuffle all of these in any order, really, but I digress. And my pick here is almost the complete opposite of Camera. But at the same time, I'm always a sucker for a song that takes an expected cliche and turns it upside down, and in the process gives it a whole new meaning. And that is what Conan Gray does with the also forced title and metaphor Vodka Cranberry. And I guess not really metaphor, because it just says out exactly why Vodka Cranberry is in the hook. It's there. It's fine. It is absolutely pop singer-songwriter stuff. There's a lot of reverb and a lot of double tracking there, and it's fine. But it's the lyrical work happening here that hooked me, because it doesn't quite go the places you expect it to, right? It's constructed to have the foundation of a "Please Don't Leave Me" song, the kind of whiny fare that's really become a dime a dozen in pop since at least Shawn Mendes, if not farther back. But instead, Gray then turns around to weave a different tale. A couple that was on a break. God, Ross is the worst. And they're getting back together. And it was clearly a bad idea. He himself called the song a tale of rejection and a declaration that he would rather be in control of how he gets that rejection. which is a cool, unique point of view and an easy way to get over the hump of an otherwise unremarkable track with me. And that's the situation we have here for this track. It just kind of made it across the line this month. It literally hit the radio charts on the last day of the month. So here it is. And if I would have waited till next month, it probably would have been buried somewhere in the middle.
The one thing about this track that I do love is, I think you maybe had touched on as you were talking, just the lyrics are great and everything, but just the voice, and this is just a me thing, I think, but I just love Conan Gray's voice.
Yeah, no, good. It's good voice.
It's very good voice.
He's good.
Voice from old country. No, but
old country of falsetto. Yes, Stan, I don't know what Anyway.
Yeah, it's
just in case you were wondering how many of the jokes are actually well thought out and planned.
None from this side of the microphone, I'll tell you that much.
Like 3 or 4 maybe a show.
But it fits the song, it fits thematically. I think
that's the thing. It does what it says in the tin. It checks all the boxes. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
And that's why it ends up here in a month that otherwise is okay.
Yeah, I totally agree. On a different month, this probably is more in the mushy middle, but yeah.
Yeah. Very squishy. However, though, let the run of opposites continue. As song number 2 of October is not from someone seeking rejection at all. It's from someone embracing it. And this breakup was messy. It's Tate McRae and Tit for Tat. And she is biting. And if the title wasn't a dead giveaway, she's inviting a response in the form of a diss track, which also kind of lends you to believe that she's got a lot more ammo waiting for the schmuck that was running around. So it could be interesting. Not as interesting as Kendrick and Drake, obviously, but I mean, it should be some trashy fun for a little bit. Her breathy delivery in this makes things start slightly ambiguous, but after 3 lines, it's very clear there's nothing seductive meant in this delivery, but there's still this playful energy, which took me a few lessons to kind of figure out, because it feels out of place, and also at the same time, it is a hook and it draws you in. And that might be the best trait of the song. It has a unique energy. And I know that does sound like a backhanded compliment. It's really not meant to be, although that is, I get it. It's a unique energy. It has a nice personality. It's what I've heard quite a bit. And because of that, the vicious lyrics also stay with you throughout the process. And overall, I think that's why the song rose in the top for me, because it doesn't blow you away. If you're familiar with McRae, you're familiar with this sound, but it has that energy that keeps drawing you back. I had the same experience with this song that many commentators online had. You listen once, and I was whatever about it at best. But then, for whatever reason, I kept going back to it, and it really grew on me. And as I've mentioned plenty of times, in a month that was full of good but not great, that made the difference.
I like the song.
I do too now. I just had to it took me a couple listens to get there. That's all.
One for producer Nikki real quick. The kid Leroy is 22, which would actually make him the adult Leroy. Change the name, dude, and get absolutely drop kicked by this reaction to a song that I'm not going to listen to, which was a Coldplay kind of chronicling his side of their breakup. I don't have to listen to it. I know that Tit for Tat's better. That's just common knowledge.
Yeah.
Who knew that we in 2025 we would get the next generation fuck you right back tracks, and I honestly feel like he's closer to Eamon, whatever the fuck his name was, than we all want to admit.
Yeah. No arguments here. I had the same experience with it that you did too, that after listening to it the second time, it just vibed better. And I don't really know why, but yeah.
Which I guess with that being number 2 should bring us down to the bottom. And I feel like I'm going to say this a lot, but this really isn't the bottom. It's just the way the numbers shook out, which is why my dishonorable mention would be LL Langley and Choose in Texas. And there's no reason for this song to be down at this spot. It is a fine song. It's a good piece of country work. And her inclusion down here a month after being in the top 3 is an absolute fault of my system. Now, am I going to do anything about that system? No. It's been broken for so long. Why try to fix it now?
Yeah, I wanted to find something to say about this song that was meaningful, but it's like when someone hands you an Oreo cookie and you eat it, and it's like, yeah, that tasted good. There was sugar there. It was crunchy, and you don't remember it in 5 minutes. Like that was 100% choosing Texas.
Yep, I think that's it. It did it does what it says on the tin, and that's unfortunate that it ends up down here.
Yeah,
which, like I said, general dislike at the bottom of the chart this month, which is also probably why this will be the most uninteresting part of the show, because it was just all right. Nothing stretching too far into those low areas of the bell curve. So I guess I can talk briefly about Dracula by Tame Impala at number 19, who is a band that I'm actually kind of surprised hasn't had a bigger splash on the pop scene yet, mostly because of the uniqueness of Kevin Parker's style and his production methods. I mean, look, Dracula's fun. It's shiny. It has a glistening 80s disco sound that has just got a ton going on, and not in a bad way at all. But like I just said, the fault of the system puts a decent track down here in the drop zone.
Yes, super danceable song.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Not my favorite song on the new record, but
same.
But it's a good song.
Yeah. The song in number 20 is also not that bad at all. It's also not that great. And before I start getting accused of sliding back into my tired trope of hating on generic country, I mean, I guess you're right, but I'm not really hating. But on the technical end, Jordan Davis's Bar None isn't really a track worthy of hate. It's just a song that you've heard 1,000 times in the genre, that the woman done left me, so I need to crawl into the bottle song. And look, if that's the kind of thing you like, you'll be fine with it. I mean, for me, it just doesn't have a unique voice delivering on a very cliched message, and therefore it, I guess, falls down here. But I mean, not terrible. It's just tired on my earballs.
I have no comment to make because I have not heard it. So
I will then echo everything that you said, Dan. This is like paint by numbers country music. It's whatever. The music video is atrocious because it is literally Jordan Davis sitting outside of a bar in the middle of the night. Literally, that's the music video. He sits there. He walks out of the bar. He sits down. He has a deck of cards. He tosses a few cards in the air. He sits there. He rocks back and forth a little bit. And then he gets up and goes inside. This isn't hyperbole. This is the music video. This shoot probably cost in the 4, if not 5 digits for this.
I thought you were gonna say the 4, if not $5.
Right.
That's what it was worth, 100%.
When you started describing it, I thought you froze. That there was a continuation of the sentence, and then you're like, no.
I kept waiting. Like there's some. He does something right at some point. He does nothing. He sits and he tosses a playing card.
There will be video in your music video. Yes.
He missed that.
Hello.
Several people saw this before it went out the door. I want to talk to all of them.
I would like to. Wow, who approved this? Who approved this, sir?
Yeah, choices were made. But yeah, the song.
No, actually, choices weren't made. And that might be the issue.
That's true. Maybe he was just waiting for like direction from the director. They're like, "We got it." He's like, "You got what?"
Wait, I didn't do anything yet. No, we've been rolling for like 45 minutes. You're good. Let's not put our foot through a Picasso.
Holy shit. It was tremendous.
But finally, I guess, yet another song I'm not actually sure is bad, but one that doesn't seem actually good. I don't know how else to describe this. The only note that I made when I was listening was, and I quote, "When there's too much vapor in the vaporware, you get pixelated kisses from Joji." And that is the thing. Like, I listened to this song multiple times, and I had to ask if I was really going to have an old man yelling at cloud moment and hate on this song, because I don't get rage, and that might still be it. I don't know. But it's like, it's a grimy industrial beat. And if that's what rage is, then maybe it's admittedly not for me, because I feel like the heavy and loud and greasy bass just overtakes the whole production, and it blows out not just the vocals, but literally everything else. To steal a description from earlier, to me, the track sounds like a fax machine, just one slowly running out of power. But again, could just not be for me. And this actually could be a good song in a genre. I am more than willing to admit that. And the reviews around the music blog of Sphere disagree with my point of view. So maybe I'm just old and crotchety. I will be the first to admit that this, and this might be the worst case of me listening to something new and going, nope, I don't get that one.
I don't get it either.
But you're old too, so I guess it doesn't matter.
I think, like, from my perspective, like, I really do enjoy Joji. I like his music. I like his voice, usually. This, yeah, I don't know what happened in the production of this song, which I think he did his own production, but he shouldn't have, because it's just so much. And it just didn't have to be like it drowns him out, like, entirely. And it becomes the focal point when it should never have been the focal point of the song. If it was good production, then sure. But, like, I want to hear Joji. I don't want to hear whatever the hell that was.
Right. It also feels like the song just stops. Like, I don't know if he had other ideas or what. And then it ends at like a minute 50.
It's like, we're done. We got it. Just like the music video. It's like, we got it. We're good. Like, what do you mean? I still have like 2 minutes of bars left. Like, right. No, we're good. We're packing this up.
We're good.
I honestly feel like I need to listen to this song now.
You do, and you'll I hope you'll hate it. I really hope you'll do, but there's a universe in which you'll enjoy this song.
Okay.
See, and that's what I keep thinking. I wonder if there's a universe where I get it and enjoy it. And like I said, I agree with a lot of the other reviews. Or maybe I just need to go backwards 20 years, and maybe that's how I get it and enjoy it.
Maybe that's it. We've aged out of Joji.
Maybe.
I refuse to believe it. It's not my fault.
I mean,
theirs.
I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna ride this until the wheels fall off, literally. Which should only be about 5 more years now.
It's gonna be like a brick wall.
Yes. Anyway, I can get my stuff done here and go back to the top, where I suppose, again, I guess I could take a moment to mention the best song, in my opinion, on Life of a Showgirl, which I agree with Jay, is Fate of Ophelia. But outside of that, the top track of the month comes from a duo that gives us a straightforward blend of R&B, hip-hop, soul, and confidence. And it comes from Cardi B featuring Kehlani and Safe. And is one of the slower tracks on Am I the Drama. The pair deliver a song that was another that just grew on me throughout the month, with its layers on top of layers on top of layers of production and vocals. And like I mentioned, this confidence that both of them inject into the mix. Their vocal delivery fits together so well, trading back and forth mid, bridge, and hook, that the effect kind of takes you a second to catch up with. And then it hits hard. And I mean, it's a pretty simple concept of the song. She's looking for a partner to make her feel safe, and does a little lamenting about the fact that she hasn't found one so far. But when you can deliver on the premise you set up and do it very well, you find your way to the top of my chart in the middest of mid-months.
All right. And
that right there was the hardest I have ever had to work for just shy of 1,300 words.
You killed it. You absolutely killed it. As did Kehlani and Cardi B, because this is, as I've heard the song several times now on the Sirius XM radio, this is very quickly becoming one of my favorite songs of the year.
Right?
Oh.
To be completely honest, I love this song. I love the juxtaposition of sounds. I love the juxtaposition of styles between the two. They both bring it from their own particular perspectives, and it works.
That's the thing. And I think I don't overall love Kehlani's voice, but it has found the perfect pocket for it here on this song. And like, maybe I can reconsider, maybe it's just maybe she just, to me, hasn't gotten the right songs to work with as a solo artist. I don't know.
Maybe so. Yeah. It's just it's a thing of fit. Right. And
that's exactly it. I don't know why, it just does.
Yeah.
Which again is most of the chart this month. I don't know why, it just does.
Yeah. That's about as glowing of a review as it's going to get.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Good month. Well, ish month.
Ish month.
As always, we look to the future, and we're not going to spoil anything, but there are several things that we already know about, and probably a few things that we don't know about yet that are coming down the pike in November. As we kind of alluded to at the top of the show, we are going to be into the holiday season, so we're certainly going to get some of those holiday releases, which we will look at and then cast aside just as quickly as we saw them.
Yeah.
But there's plenty on that bone that's not at all holiday related either. So I'm excited for what the next month holds. But yeah, until then, you're stuck with us with regular shows through the month.
Later on, much better episodes. But for now, courage.
And if you made it this far, then you have a great deal of courage behind you. So well done for that.
If you're still listening, please call us and tell us why. And by call us, I of course mean hit us up at Fairly KickAss at Blue Sky on Instagram, on Threads, and on TikTok. Again, at Fairly KickAss, or just the old email at fairlykickass@gmail.com. And we will definitely read your message. We'll probably respond to it. Maybe.
I think we will. I think I don't think we've ever had anyone email us about the show in 5 years. So at least the very first one, you'll get a personalized message from all of the three of us.
Oh yeah.
I feel good about making that declaration. It might be a lie, but I still feel good about it.
Time frame contingency, but yeah.
3 months later, you'll see it pop up in your inbox.
Certainly. And we promise it won't be a form letter from Ted.
Yeah, hopefully we're not hiring that dude back.
Yeah, right.
Again.
Anyway.
I think I got some towels in the back that also need some TLC.
Yeah, I gotta tackle that sheet. So, wow, this was as disappointing as the month in the review. For me.
It was so bad. I want to do over. It's like maybe I could bring this bit back up, and I shouldn't have. It was a shit bit in the first place.
Well, appropriate.
Fair.